Hello and welcome to my F1 24 review and gameplay analysis. I know this game has been covered with controversy from the handling to some of the tracks being flat, but we won't get into too much of that until the later stages in this video. This will be a short enough video. It's just an analysis of every drivers, cars, updates, and what really we can expect from the day one patch coming out on day one of this game. You can see we're already in the pit box in probably one of the toughest tracks on the Formula 1 calendar for drivers and esports drivers. F2 and God knows what other sports races here. We're in Monaco. Monaco can turn out to be the hardest track on the game, and I feel it will be the hardest with this new handle model that is coming to the game. That feels more centered for the controller players more than the wheel players. Now I will be doing commentary throughout this lap, as I will be giving my honest feedback on the car handling it and all. Now I have had a day to practice this and just feel for the game, but overall the only complaint I have with it is the severe handling. There's just certain scenarios where you're almost afraid to put your foot to the floor in case you do too much like spin, or you just go too quickly and have to react to something, and then God knows what could happen. As we know, racing is all about hard racing and quick maneuvering, overtakes and all. I just hit the wall. But one problem I see with this game, which could affect all league racers and esports racers, is the severe handling of the cars in this game. As I just genuinely believe it is too narrow and too centered for the controller. Like, it was only mapped for the wheel in like the last 2 days of the coding of the game. Now I am aware there is a day one patch coming which could change everything, which I'm praying for. But one key detail is I'd like to point out is the fact that you cannot go full throttle in corners that you would normally trust. Say on F1 23, you come up here and you coast your way around this corner. You can't really turn the car the same anymore. The car handling in this game makes it rather difficult to turn the car in certain corners if you're on wheel, and overall it is a bit of a pain at times to get the car going. In areas where you'd put your foot to the floor, it gets harder to do that, as you're afraid if you turn too quickly, the car will just go the wrong direction. Oh, I'm valid. But you can see what I mean by that. Like, it is very tough and narrow to maneuver these new cars around circuits like this. Now I am going to go to Imola and I'm going to show you exactly how that track feels around these new handled cars. As we are aware, Imola was one of 5 tracks to get a new laser scan done to it to make it as authentic and realistic as possible. Now I played the very early access as part of the EA playtester system, and I didn't really see anything different, bar the feel of the cars was the main complaint throughout both betas and playtesting. And unfortunately that issue is still here, which can be highlighted from every other YouTuber that you've probably watched in this game I know, or you've played yourself and have the same complaint. But I am going to do 2 laps around Imola, and we will see all the changes that have done to the track. There's probably not a lot that's been done, but there's been better like scenery and feeling to the track that has been spotted by a couple of YouTubers and myself. So I'm going to be quiet now, and I'm going to let you enjoy 2 laps around the Imola Grand Prix track, and I'm using the Visa Cash App Red Bull car as I'm part of a partnership at the minute, so I kind of have to use it. But I will stay quiet and sit back and enjoy the lap. Now, unfortunately, due to this game only being out for the Champions Edition, online lobbies are basically not out yet. But I did manage to get one person in my lobby versus the rest AI. So let's hope to God. Oh, never mind, the AI don't go. So it'll just be me and this guy doing a 5-lap race around one of the second and most anticipated news scans around Belgium. Okay, so I take it this is going to be a 1-horse race, but essentially Belgium got a new laser scan which feels amazing to drive around now. In my opinion, I wasn't a fan of the old Belgium. I will put my hands up now and say I did not like it. I found it disgusting to drive around just down the straights and coming into these kind of corners were a bit of a task. But now they feel a lot smoother. The track looks super realistic to the real Spa that we have, which is really good. It's always nice to see a track that deserves so much recognition getting huge updates when it matters. Now, I am fairly convinced this guy is not an actual F1 racer or a league racer, as already he is retired somehow and has rage quit. So I guess I'll just do commentary for the last 4 laps and just give you my overall thoughts as we see at this video. So essentially, the way I think the game will improve is the handling. As you've probably seen on several occasions on this lap already, I'm swerving a lot, even though I'm barely turning my wheel. That is, a key problem with this game at the minute. And just overall a quick turn on the wheel will tell you anything, and I will use turn 1 here. I'll use turn 1 as an example here. Like, if you turn very quickly, you're in trouble. So say you're coming down the straight here, and there's a car after crashing and you have to turn. That's not gonna save you there. And it's just overall a bit more of a task.
Battery charge is high, let's use that overtake button a bit more.
A bit more of a task to get the car turned in certain scenarios. Now, I am fully aware there is a day 1 patch coming for the handling, which I think, and I'm praying, rescues this game. Because it is killing the game off altogether, which is sad to see, because as an F1 fan, we all love the F1 game series. We all have our special connections to it, whether it be from league racing or playing it for fun. But there's just certain sections of the game that needs to be severely improved on. Unfortunately, the handling is the key thing. Now, the reason for the handling change was because the main man who did the handling for Codemasters walked away after F1 23. So that means a new design handler had to come in and basically just do a job that he thought he could do, and yeah, here we are today complaining about a bad handling software and system. But overall, I think it can be improved. We just have to hope and pray that a day 1 patch comes out and rescues the game a bit. Because at the minute the game is in a state where there's people already asking for refunds on their copies of the game because they're not impressed with how the cars feel or overall. In my opinion, I think I'll get over it quickly. Like, I think the main thing that it'll take is just pure practice, and that's something not a lot of people really want to do anymore. They just want to hop in and just be the best racer they can without having to do any practice, which is a bit unfair for a game like this, which takes a serious amount of time and effort to get it right. Because no matter what device you use, let it be a wheel, or a controller, there is going to be scenarios where people are not willing to put the work in and they just assume that, oh, the handling's to blame for the bad performances. Now for some it might help them, some people might like the new handling. Personally, I'm not a fan of it. I was more of a fan of the F1 23 handling more than this, but you can't be picky with what you get. Over time, I think it'll just take a lot of practice to adapt to. One other key detail as I'm using it now, I've noticed, if you touch grass like there, as you will see, it did come up on my visor, which I think was a nice little detail for him to add.
Great
You didn't
work.
have
That's
to.
a new fastest lap of the race.
Now, I am fully aware that this game hasn't even released yet, as the day of recording this is the 29th. The day, so I've had 1 day to play and give my honest review on this. And I will stand by what I said. There is certain features I'm not a fan of, but I think the overall game itself looks very interesting at the minute, like the design of everything. The only thing I have the problem with, which is everyone's complaining at the minute, is the handling system. But I am convinced that EA will see the reviews and will force an update to the handling. Let it be just a redo of last year's handling. We won't know. All I know is Codemasters won't sit there and watch this go to crap. I think they'll put the work in now, before and after the release, for the handling, and just overall make the game a lot more enjoyable, which is something that we as F1 fans just want and think we deserve, because this game isn't cheap. I think this game, well, over here, I'm from Ireland, this costs €85. I'm aware in Britain it costs 80. Like, it's not a cheap game at all, and no games nowadays are cheap. So forking out a big lump of money for a game that doesn't handle or doesn't do something right that you like
Okay, mate, final lap. Keep your concentration and let's bring it home.
can turn a lot of customers away from the product, as they feel it's not catered to them. But I strongly believe that this game caters to a good audience in the F1 scene, and I think once the right measures are taken, there is a promising game here within the Codemasters' hands. I think if they just get everything spot on and just fix the handling over time, I don't think in 2 months' time or 3 months' time we'll be complaining of the handling in the game. But overall, my honest opinions on the game is I generally like it. The only problem I have against it is, of course, the handling. But I'm fully aware that can change over time. One other quick thing I would like to mention. This game you have to fight more against the car, keep it going on the track, which is something I have noticed. And you've probably noticed here, I'm fighting a lot with the car to keep it on the track. Now that could be put down to me not playing any F1 game for like 2 months. But I am finding it difficult to keep the car on the track in certain corners, or getting the right exit to corners, just because of the handling, the way the car turns coming out of certain corners.
Woo-hoo! Yes, 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 guys, yes! Come on, boys!
Sorry, that was my phone. I apologise. But overall, I do like this game. I think it does have a lot of potential. It just needs the right care and handling to it. We can use F1 23 as an example of where the handling was met with good graphics and all, I think EA went over the top this year with the graphics and kind of threw the handling to one side, assuming that wouldn't affect anything. Unfortunately, it did this year. So I am going to head back to the main screen and get to the conclusion. And that is my review of F1 24. Personally, I would say wait for the day one patch to come out before pre-ordering or purchasing F1 24. I would personally hold out for any key details that might happen or the handling to change. I do feel this game has a lot of potential in it, and I do strongly believe if Codemasters manage to fix the handling, we have a very solid game on our hands. So I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. Thank you very much for listening as we rant about this. If you are a fan of this new style from me, I'm not one to do these kind of videos. I'm normally playing FIFA matches or just doing stuff that requires no audio, no nothing. It just requires gameplay. But if you are a fan of me analyzing these kind of new releases, please do drop a like and drop a comment if you like these kind of styles of videos. Well, anyway, that's it from me. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.